I was reading just the other day a statement that I think really applies to hitting and hitting drills. The statement said that enthusiasm without knowledge is like running in the dark. Makes a lot of sense. We have a lot of hitters and a lot of coaches and a lot of parents that are very enthusiastic about hitting, but may not have the knowledge they need to either be or teach good hitting. Well, sometimes that knowledge is even there, but the to-do part of it is not. You may have the enthusiasm, you may have acquired some of the knowledge, but then you still got to be able to do it. See, knowing how to hit and being able to hit are two different things. The difference in the two is the practice, the drills. You've got to do those things you know enough times correctly that you're able to do them automatically when it comes to a ball game. That's what we're going to look at today. We often hear that old statement that practice makes perfect. Really one of the dumbest statements ever made. Practice doesn't make perfect. You can go out and practice all the time and not get any better. It depends on how you practice. What practice does make is permanent. See, the way you practice it is the way you're going to do it in a ball game. And so we want to look at drills from a standpoint of doing them correctly so that some proper learning occurs, so that you get better every day you go out there. I want to look at some principles for successful drills before we actually look at the drills themselves. I think the first principle we ought to look at is the fact that a drill ought to have a reason. It ought to have a purpose. It should meet a need. So you don't just go out and do drills just to do them. You've got to have a reason. You don't take medicine or vitamins or whatever just to take them really, or exercises in some cases just to do them. Medicine and exercises and whatever are for a reason. You've got a need, you've got a problem, and you want to correct it. Or you want to prevent something. So every drill should have a reason. It should have a purpose. It should be based on the skill level of the player that you're working with. And that purpose should help prevent a problem or correct a problem. Second, we've got to concern ourselves with both quantity and quality. Too often coaches and players are concerned with only quantity, and we send somebody down to do something 50 times. That may or may not accomplish anything. What's the quality like? Did you do it correctly? You see, I'd rather do it right 10 out of 10 times than do it 50 times and do it wrong 40 times and right 10 times. If I do it right 10 out of 10, I'm at plus 10. If I do it 50 times but do it wrong 40 and right 10, I'm at minus 30. So quantity by itself is not important. Quality actually by itself is not important, because if you only do it 5 times, you're not going to learn it. You've got to have both quantity and quality. We might wrap that concept up in the statement that proper repetitions lead to proper execution. You've got to repeat it enough times that when it comes time to execute it, you can do it. And the key is to repeat it correctly or properly so that when you execute it correctly or properly. That leads us to a third principle where we need to break down our skills, maybe isolate the practicable parts. You see, if you just go out and take what we call batting practice, where somebody stands at home plate and somebody pitches them a ball and they hit, they're trying to work on the entire swing at one time. It's hard to get better hitting by doing that. You've got to take the parts of the swing and break it down. Isolate what the back foot does. Isolate what the eyes do. Isolate what the hands do, or the hips, or the shoulders, or the head, or the knee, or whatever part it might be. By isolating the swing into its practicable parts, you're able to make significantly better progress than by just trying to do the whole thing at one time. Of course, going along with this, maybe principle number 4, you need to have a lot of equipment. You need to have the space that's needed, the time. You need to make good use of the space or the facility, the time, the equipment, the people that are involved. It's hard to get a lot of proper repetitions with only one bat and a couple of balls. You need a lot of softballs, a lot of bats, a lot of batting tees, a lot of room, maybe fences. You say you don't have all of this and you can't afford all of it. Well, tennis balls can be hit, volleyballs can be hit, socks rolled up with tape or rubber bands around them can be hit, golf balls, Nerf balls, wiffle balls, whatever. Maybe even wad up newspaper and tape it up. There are a lot of ways to practice without using the official bat and the official ball. Be innovative and make good use of your time and your equipment and your facilities and your people, and then you get more proper repetitions. The next principle we should think of is emphasizing the process rather than just the result. If we're working on a back foot pivot, it's important to emphasize the back foot pivot, not necessarily whether the hitter hits the ball well or not. The process we're working on is pivoting the back foot. The result may or may not be that the ball was hit well in that drill. Emphasize the process. Look at the process rather than just the result. Make sure that you slow it down. Oftentimes we get in a hurry. Players need to slow down. We send them down to a fence somewhere with a tee and a bat, and we tell them to do something 10 times, and they try to do it just as quickly as they can and get the 10 done. We've got to slow the process down, try to do it right every time you do it. That's very important. Finally, our last principle, make it fun. You see, your kids aren't at practice enough, no matter how much you practice and how well you practice, to develop their skills as they should. They've got to go away from your practice and practice a lot of these things at home. So in your organized practices, you need to make it fun. Come up with some crazy drills maybe that have a purpose. Maybe give drills crazy names, put some competition into it, put a stopwatch on it, whatever it takes. Try to make your drills fun. Then the players will go home and work on these drills by themselves, and they get some more proper repetition other than just those at your practice. So underlying all of these principles of successful drills, make it fun so they enjoy it and they'll work on it a lot more. Now today we're going to take you from the on-deck circle to the batter's box. We're going to look at the complete hitting action from the preparation to the time the bat meets the ball and right after that. We're going to show you how to do some drills that are guaranteed to help you as a player, a coach, or a parent. Now you're going to have to kind of pick and choose a little bit. Some of these drills won't apply to you. They won't be drills that fit your needs, or they won't be drills that are for the purpose that you need a drill for. You've got to pick and choose. Just like you pick and choose the pitches to swing at in a game, you pick and choose the drills or the medicine to prevent or to correct the problems that you might have. You be a good picker and a good chooser. You work on these drills, you repeat them enough times properly, and you obtain that final level of learning that the psychologists or the educational people would call unconscious competence. Now those are just big words that mean you can do it right without thinking about it. That's when you become a good hitter. Go with us now. We'll do these drills. You'll get to see them. You can practice them, and I guarantee you, you'll be a better hitter for having done so. Let's get to work.